Hello everyone, and welcome to second day of the Mautic conference global conference round 2024. Now we're going to start with the next speakers, which she is Anna Levitin. Anna Levitin is a marketing expert uh, with the academic degree in cultural anthropology, and she's passionate about analyzing the customer behavior, anticipating their needs, and creating sense of importance by delivering the relevant, right, and personalized content. So I welcome Anna to the stage, and Anna, stage is yours.
Hi everyone. Hello, hello. I'm super happy to be here today at this conference ואני ממש מתרגשת לדבר היום פה על email marketing y todo lo relacionado con la localización, traducción. Y давайте же скорее начинать. Probably you're like, hold on, what's going on? What was that? And maybe you recognized one, two, three, or all four languages that I used in my introduction. Why I'm doing this? Because today we're gonna talk about very interesting topic, multilingual email campaigns. Let me share my screen and we will start. So we're gonna talk today about what is the difference between localization, personalization, and what it actually means. But the first thing, let's get to know each other. So my name is Anna Levitin. I lead email and marketing operation at a company called Powtoon. Powtoon is a visual communication platform. Basically, what you see on your screen, my entire presentation is made at Powtoon. So we have over 40 million users, and we help individuals and enterprises to build engaging presentation instead of just PowerPoints. So a few words about myself. I never wanted to be an email marketer, right? I wanted to be maybe a teacher, maybe a hairdresser, but never email marketer. But I have a degree in cultural anthropology and ethnology. So basically, this what brought me to email marketing, and this is what really made me curious about different cultures, languages, and how we can differentiate and personalize content for our different users. So prior to Powtoon, I worked in e-commerce, in fintech, and in an e-commerce company, we actually sent campaigns for over like 20 different countries, which means about like 15 plus languages. So what we're gonna talk today about? Let's quickly go through agenda. We're gonna talk about why. Why means why localization is important. What is included into localization process? Where to begin and how to start everything. So let's deep dive into the topic. And before we actually start, I would like to ask you a question, and I'm going to release a poll. Give me a second. I want to know how many languages you use to consume information. So if you don't see the poll, you just can, just one second. I'm releasing the poll. Yeah, perfect. So just vote in the poll, and you also are welcome to comment in the chat what are those languages. Oh, I see at least 4 languages. Wow, that's really impressive. It's great. So meanwhile, we can leave poll on, but I would like to continue with my presentation. If we can switch back, please. Perfect. Um, so at this moment, you probably ask yourself, Anna, why we need to run emails in different languages while so many people speak English? And look at you, even this session is in English. And you know what? I have an answer for you. Because localization and translation, it's the basis of personalization. And if you are not doing that, you are missing something more than just hello first name. You are missing this personal touch, at least speaking the same language with user. So if you don't localize, if you don't translate, if you don't optimize your campaigns for another culture, for another country, you are missing on personalization. And I want to show you some stats, and you can see the sources below, because numbers are always speaking louder, right? So according to research, companies that go in multilingual, their conversion is more, 30% more. And 40% of consumers saying that they want buy in another language, and more than 56% saying that they prefer to consume content in their native language, even if the price is lower in non-native language, right? So I guess this also helps to understand why it's really important to localize and to translate your campaigns. So what does it mean actually to translate, to localize campaign? Is it the same? What is the difference? Is it only like, I can use AI tool, help me to translate my communication, and that's it? Let's think about this. Because if you want to have that experience for your customers, you can only translate, word to word without any other aspect. And again, it's not going to be the perfect experience. But if you want to build a really nice experience and connect with your customers, potential customer or current customers, there are so many aspects, so many fields and areas to look while you are working on localization of email. And let's go over some of them. So first thing, it's accurate translation. Again, if you are using a specific words, very technical, right? Dialects, slangs. For example, from my experience, it was always challenged to translate campaigns in Spanish, so it will be very relevant for all speaking Spanish countries. And the same with Arabic, for example. There are so many different dialects. Currency, right? If you live in Europe, you would like to get your prices in euro. And the same with the US. There is no reason really to send prices in euros to the US. Colors. For example, in Japan, the purple color is sort of like royalty color. So if you even go now to search for some Japan-based website, you won't see that much purple color. And also, it's something to consider. Measurement units, right? I'm super bad with miles and inches, but I'm very good with the kilometers and centimeters. So this is also something to consider. Punctuation. And this actually it's interesting thing because I did this mistake when I just started to work with campaigns that written in French language, and let me know if someone experienced that. I see that we have a French speakers in the chat. So there is always a space before the exclamation mark or before the question mark. And I was like, why translators are leaving that? And I started to remove that, and only then I realized that actually exclamation mark, question mark, semicolon, like they all should have space before that. I see the reaction. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. Again, something not obvious. Data and time format. This is something I'm gonna speak about in details on the next slide because it's super important. Tone, formality, it's not only about the localization, but it's also about keeping your brand consistent. Time zone, another tricky thing, because we at Powtoon, we use a lot of we conduct a lot of webinars for our B2C users, showing how to use the platform, and also for our B2B clients, potential leads, doing webinars with industry leaders. So there are two times a year when I feel really confused. It's in October and in March. Why? Because this is the time when we are changing the clock, right? From summer to winter and back. So probably, I'm sure that some of the folks on this session, they face this situation. So US is changing a little bit later. So while Europe and UK, which are like majority of our target audience, change the clock, for example, to winter time already, US is still on the summertime. And this makes some misunderstanding also when the webinar is scheduled. So again, something to consider. Public holidays. So when I started to work in e-commerce company, we were sending emails on Friday 13th, and I had no idea that in some countries, like for example in Italy, there is a Friday 17th. And in some speaking Spanish countries, it's not Friday, it's Tuesday 13th. So this campaign, like the whole campaign was planned, the copy, the translation was prepared, and then like the local support team told us, you know what, it's irrelevant. We don't really use this in Italy. And also Mother Day, for example, in UK it's in the March. In May, it's in US, it's in May. So you definitely don't want to send irrelevant or congratulate with a relevant holiday. And it's not only about local holidays and like local cultures. It's also about putting your team efforts and spend time, budget, again, energy on something that might be not relevant. Let me give you an example. Here in Israel, we have Yom Kippur. This is the day when a lot of people, they're not using any technology, no telephone, no desktop, mainly like walking, praying. So receiving promotional email during this day, like it will first of all receive like very low open rate, CTR, and very low conversion. And then, company might really struggle to understand why the specific market didn't convert. Maybe it's deliverability, maybe it's a messaging, maybe the products are not relevant. Spend a lot of time, to analyze it, just eventually understand that it was actually mistaken a day. It's like, imagine you are sending gift guide on 25th of December in the morning when everyone already, purchased, or on 24th even in the morning when everyone got their gifts and prepared already. So it's a little bit late. Let's go. Cultural norms and values, and of course, images, icons. It's also go together with colors. And in this moment, you probably might think, oh, Anna, that's not it. Like, I mean, there are more things to consider in email marketing when you build a company, when you build a campaign. And you know what? You are not mistaken. That's totally right. There are tons of things, and we can cover the entire screen and mention so many things that we should consider. But I actually would like to speak about two of them. So the first one is device usage. there are countries that mainly use mobile. So even the first experience, the first internet experience is on the phone, but not desktop. So when we build email, we should consider that users will open it on mobile. And in our case at Powtoon, because we're a visual communication platform, it's a little bit challenging to use platform itself on mobile. So we always encourage users to open it on desktop. So we have a dedicated campaigns whenever user is open or try to log in from mobile. We tell them for the better experience, you should open it on the desktop. And another thing, wow, it's difficult. It's really difficult to read, but I hope you can see it. It's text direction from right to left, from left to right. I've been building campaigns in right to left languages as Arabic and Hebrew, and it's a challenge because the entire template, entire layout should be shifted, and it's very confusing, specifically when you use a countdown, because in a countdown, they're digits, they're from left to right, but the wording is from right to left. So if you use drag and drop, maybe it would be a little bit easier. But if you hardcode your emails, make sure that you actually tested that. So when we see all these aspects, all these elements, we understand that if something is not used, if you can spot that that is not something that is not relevant for your country, for your local location, it's just all about the trust. And it's very easy to undermine the trust. And as an example, I want to show you something. Actually, how you can easily show that you are not a local product, or you doesn't really think about the user. So here you can see different formats of data, of time, and we all experienced, right, that in the US it's first month, day, and then year. In some countries it's year, month, day, and then day, month, year. So whenever you send to US market, you can't use the same date format for that you use for Europe. So I listed here, I call it safe format, that can be understood by a representative of all countries. And again, as long as you are using a safe format, it can be relevant for everyone. And if you have further personalization, make sure you are using a specific time and date format relevant for this country. Probably at this point you're like, okay, Anna, we know all nuances, we translated, we thought about the cultural things, the holidays, colors, icons. Can we send email? Will it be successful? And it really depends. Why? Because there are so many things to think about rather than email campaign. Because it's great to send email campaign in your local language, but then user, let's say they want to change their preferences, so they go to the preference center and it's using only English, right? For example, I receive a campaign in Portuguese, and then I need to figure out what is in this preference page. The same happening when user, there should be an option to change the communication language. And for example, it's relevant for the countries where we know that a lot of different speakers living, like Netherlands, like United Arab Emirates, countries where we know that English might be more common, right, than in other countries. The same about the form submission. How many times you wanted to register for the webinar, or get a ebook, or download something, and the entire landing page is in local language, and then you click on it, and actually the form submission is in English. And okay, you submit the form, you give all your details, and then the thank you message, again in English, right? It's very confusing. And talking about like other, other elements, it could be landing page, the product itself, a footer, legal parts of the content, especially when you are doing like a massive promotion and you need to write like a very, very specific detailed rules. Again, it's mostly for e-commerce, but again, it's relevant for both for B2C and for B2B. And now I would like actually to show you how, how we can start, how, for example, we can make this process a little bit easy for us, for marketers, because we at Powton, we are a really small team. So we are handling everything, just few of us. So first of all, my recommendation is to set a language option that user can change. Again, it could be on in a preference center, or we also can use it as a separate landing page. And usually it's like a member attribute or properties, depends on your platform. And actually the first thing is to understand how your ESP, how the platform that helps you to send emails can support you. And I guess in majority of the platforms, at least I worked with, they're really supportive and they have solution for multilingual campaigns. The second one, and I really like it, is to break your emails into blocks and snippets, right? So what it means is that um, let's say you have a certain number of templates that you usually use, and that will help you to whenever you build a new campaign, just separate it on the blocks and change not entire campaign, right? Change a block and sort of add it into template. Again, even if you use a drag and drop or you code emails, it's like Lego sort of you build. So all these parts, all these blocks can be saved per language. And I'm a huge fan of like using dynamic handlebars and dynamic elements. Why? Because first of all, it helps me to personalize email more. And the second, it's easy again when something is changing, when there is a specific field, or I have a new property, new field for user. I don't need to rewrite like the whole content. I just can change this specific handlebar. And what we did in the company I previously worked for, we had a massive spreadsheet with all the frequently used even phrases, CTAs, like for example, shop today, sale only 24 hours. So we built this manually in the beginning, but it really helped us when we needed to twist a little bit copy, especially around the Christmas time, right? When the delivery is changing all the time, and you might have like 3 days before the delivery and something is changing, and then it's like 24 hours. So we need to be flexible and independent from translating team. And by the way, about the translation, always have a conversation with your local either customer support who can speak the same language, or success managers, because they know all these nuances, and they know your users and they know the local language, so it's like twice better. um, Towards to the end of the presentation, I want to cover internal, like how to build a case and how to present this topic of localization, because I know that it's not always considered as the business goal. So I will give you a tips and I will share my experience, what helped me to translate emails to in other languages. Because even if you are not in sales or you hate sales, and you only work in a like marketing field, we all need to wear sales hat and internally sell these projects. So the first thing, how you can, uh, sell this project internally, it's of course it's easy when you discover new markets and you want to run a test and try to, sell on this specific market. You also can say that it helps to improve the performance, right? Open rate, click-through rate, engagement, registration, downloads, whatever you can see, like page visits, uh, IP and domain reputation. It should be written that way. So, for example, for me, it was a case saying, okay, look, we really want to work on our deliverability. We want more users to open and engage with our emails and actually show ESPs that we're sending legit and good content that users engage. So let's send it in a local language. I know that they might not convert, right? They might be not convert to the paid users, but it worth that. And the last thing, oh, hold on before we move to takeaways. The last thing is get internal support from other teams. Try whenever you have a goal of building, translation of localizing your content. Try to communicate with the product team, with sales team. Maybe you can find similar goals and present it as a project together. So now let's move to the takeaways. First thing is remember that localization is far beyond the translation. It's not copy, paste, that's it. No, it has so many different aspects. Second, consider cultural differences. Again, what I mentioned, it's holidays, colors, traditions, and so on and so forth. Number three, localization makes your email accessible, right? Whenever user can actually read and understand your email, it means they can access it. And of course, personalized, right? And get internal support from other teams, because oftentimes in bigger companies, there are two teams that are working on the same goals, but a little bit separately, let's say. With this being said, thank you so much. I really enjoyed presenting that. I can talk about languages so long, and I will be happy to get your questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Anna. It was a very insightful session about the localizations and how you need to have a very local touch to the email things, right? Like very small aspect you have touched upon that one. A very nice like presentation. Let me check out if anyone has any questions.
I
I
see
have,
some
yeah.
chat. I will stop sharing my screen, right?
Yep, you can.
Just hit me a message on LinkedIn or write me email. I will be happy to answer.
Yeah, look like not much questions. I have one question around that. Like as you mentioned that we can incorporate the AIs while we writing the translation side, right? So have you have any better use cases like which we have done some like which is actually AI is helping into the localization? Because recently I have heard about this the Chat GPT 4.0 is having a better localization support in terms of very close touch, right? So that kind of use case, have you like implemented anything? Like what is the experience so far on that?
That's a great question because um, I hope we won't be replaced by AI and robots, but yet we need to cooperate together. So again, with a simple translation, like I was saying, CTAs or something, yeah, we might use the help of AI. So at Powtoon, we actually use AI to help us to build like JSON code. For
Hmm.
example, when we want uh, to withdraw like a specific information to build a new field for user, we help us to adjust the code, and it's also connected to languages. For example, when we want to combine the like local place, this country where user register from, and for example their language, and like if it's matching, okay, we know we are sending campaign in English, or it's not matching, so we offer them to change the language, or we know that it's we are sending a campaign in Spanish.
Got it. Got it. One more question I have in terms of designs side, right? Uh, like, so content wise, we always give the local touch also, but in design was also, what is the like the aspect we should consider while making a design for a localization site? Like,
Oh, that's a nice one. Uh, okay, I mentioned already right to left, left to right,
yeah,
right. This also should be considered. And generally, I think design should be accessible, which means that we have far more customers with visual impairments than we think. So visual impairments, it might be that the contrast they need, it's a little bit different from other people. uh, and also the colors, like I gave example about Japan and purple color. I know that the different color, but there are some rules in China. And actually, I remember we were in one of my previous positions, we were planning to localize site to Chinese, and we had to change the logo because it wasn't fitting like the culture. Uh, and generally design also, it's about like based on device, if you know that majority of your consumers are on mobile and not on desktop.
got it. Yeah. Thanks for sharing very insights thing about the localization and multi-language one. Like, and I hope everyone else likes the same thing. We can see that things are like they got a good feedback, excellent feedback, and like that. Like, thank you very much. I think we are on time. Like, not on time. We are early on time. Thanks for closing sessions on like the right times. Like, by this, we will end this session. Thanks for coming on a stage and sharing your insightful thing with the Mautic
Thank you.
community.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's been a pleasure, and I'm happy to connect with everyone and
Yes,
speak different languages.
yes, we should, we should. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for other people, audience, for the next sessions. We'll be back in another 30 minutes. So see you there again.